You were body slamming pillows before you could write your name. Every couch cushion became a turnbuckle. Every living room carpet turned into the main event at WrestleMania. You didn't walk around the house. You made an entrance. You flexed in mirrors, practiced promos with a hairbrush mic. While other kids dreamt of scoring goals or hitting home runs, you wanted pyro, pop, and the roar of a crowd chanting your name. Wrestling wasn't fake to you. It was larger than life. It was good and evil, pain and glory, all stitched into a ring the size of your imagination. You grew up idolizing giants, painted faces, flying elbows, characters so vivid they felt immortal. You didn't just want to watch, you wanted in. You wanted to take the bump, sell the move, win the belt, and most of all, you wanted to make people feel something. So you started early, you joined a gym before you had chest hair, you trained with people twice your size, you learned how to fall, how to roll, how to take a hit and make it look good. The first time you took a bump on the mat, the air shot out of your lungs like a car crash. But you got up, smiling. Because this pain, this was progress. You learned the difference between pain that builds and pain that breaks. You taped your ankles. You iced your back. You trained until your muscles shook and your knuckles bled from hitting ropes that felt more like steel cables than rubber bands. While your friends went to parties, you were in makeshift rings in community centers, rehearsing lockups and dropkicks. You drove hours just to get 5 minutes of ring time in a show with 20 people in the crowd and one working spotlight. You worked security at your own shows, sold merch out of a duffel bag. Sometimes you didn't even get paid, just a handshake, a good bump, and a long drive home in the dark. But you kept coming back, because every once in a while something electric happened. A chant, a cheer, a kid asking for your autograph. And for a second, you felt it, the thing you grew up chasing. That spark. It wasn't about the fame, not yet. It was about the dream, the entrance music playing for you, the crowd rising for your finisher. That moment of silence right before the 3 count. You sacrificed everything for it. Normal jobs didn't make sense. You didn't want a desk. You wanted a ring, a canvas, a crowd. You took bookings instead of vacations. You missed birthdays. You slept in your car. You ate gas station sandwiches and rehearsed moves in motel parking lots. And still, you kept the dream alive. You watched others quit. Watched friends fall apart from broken backs, busted knees, busted spirits. But you kept grinding, because every bruise felt like a receipt on the road to something bigger. The big leagues, WWE. The initials burned in your brain like holy scripture. You saw the suits, the lights, the stadiums, and you told yourself, one day your name would be in that graphic. One day you'd make that entrance. One day you'd hear the whole arena lose their minds for you. And when the tryout came, or the call, or the connection, or the slim, miraculous shot, you took it. You showed up. You crushed the drills. You smiled through the pain. You said yes to everything, no matter how ridiculous. You weren't just trying to make it. You were trying to matter. Because if you could just get through the doors, maybe everything you gave up would finally be worth it. You don't start in a stadium, you start in a high school gym that smells like hot dogs and mildew. The ring creaks, the ropes sag, the crowd's half drunk and heckling. There's no pyros, no cameras, no entrance music. Just you, a few folding chairs, and a promoter who forgot your name. You work the opener, maybe the middle of the card if someone no-shows. Your opponent's green. You're green. The match is stiff. Someone botches a suplex. Your elbow's bleeding. The crowd doesn't care, but you finish it anyway. Because that's what pros do. Then you get $50. Maybe. Sometimes it's, we'll get you next time. Sometimes it's just a slice of cold pizza, and you take it. You shake hands, you pack your gear, then you drive 4 hours to the next town, sleep in a car, and do it all over again. That's the grind. Every weekend becomes a new road. You wrestle 5 shows in 4 days in 5 different states. You shower at gas stations. You eat whatever's open at 2 a.m. You live on caffeine and ibuprofen. Your car's full of protein bars, back braces, and dream-chasing fumes. And the injuries start stacking up. Your back spasms. Your knee clicks. Your shoulder doesn't sit right anymore. You tape everything. You stretch everything. But nothing feels the way it used to. You learn how to hide pain, how to sell a punch while ignoring the real one in your ribs. You become part stuntman, part actor, part human crash dummy. No health insurance, no union, no safety net. You get hurt, you still wrestle, you break something, tape it. Concussed, shake it off. Because missing a show means missing rent. Missing rent means losing the dream. And you're not just wrestling anymore. You're selling yourself. You make gear you can't afford, you buy headshots, you record promos on a cracked phone and post them at midnight with hashtags you hope someone notices. You build a character, a gimmick, a name, You study how to pop a crowd, how to make them boo, how to make them care. Because no matter how good your match is, if no one remembers you, it's like it never happened. You see guys with less talent get booked because they've got the look. You watch promoters play favorites, bury talent, make promises they never keep. You get told to wait your turn, while guys younger than you skip the line, and you smile, and you grind, because bitterness doesn't draw money. Then the call comes. Not the call, not WWE. Just a shot at something bigger, a tryout, a developmental show, a chance to perform in front of someone with a clipboard and a pencil who might write your name down. You go hard, you steal the show, you pop the crowd, but you don't hear back, so you keep driving. You wrestle through a stomach bug, through a sprained ankle, through a breakup, through a death in the family, because the crowd still shows up, and that bell still rings, and your dream doesn't care how tired you are. You learn to fake a smile when you're barely hanging on. You learn to cut a promo with a split lip. You learn to laugh off injuries that should have sent you to a hospital. Because out here, pain is part of the price. And the worst part? You love it. You live for it. The sweat, the roar, the moment when the crowd turns their head and you are the reason why. That 5-second flash when the lights hit just right and you forget your body hurts. That's why you keep coming back. Because even when it breaks you, you still believe you can break through. You finally get the call. Developmental, maybe NXT, maybe just a dark match. It doesn't matter. It's a foot in the door. You walk in wide-eyed, full of ideas, heart pounding through your chest. But right away, you learn. This isn't wrestling anymore. This is television. This is performance. This is business. You don't just take bumps now, you take direction. Everything has a camera angle. Everything has a producer. Everything has a note. You're handed a new name. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it sounds like a rejected energy drink. Doesn't matter. You say thank you. You smile. You try to make it work. Then comes the gimmick. Maybe it fits. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're a Viking, a tennis pro, a weird accountant who loves violence. If the crowd pops, it stays. If not, you disappear. Fast. You get used to rewriting who you are every week. One day you're heel, next day babyface. You turn mid-match. You're told to sell the story, even if no one told you what the story was. Creative hands you a promo. You memorize it, word for word. No improvising, no going off script. This isn't the Indies. This is a corporation. And you are a product now. The ring's still there. But it feels different, because now every match is a segment. Every move is timed. You hit a clothesline, look to hard cam, hold for 3. Hit your finisher, look again. Hold the belt high. Cue pyro, cue commercial. Cue next guy. You get good at smiling through confusion. You get good at adjusting on the fly. And you learn quickly. Being good in the ring isn't enough. Not even close. You need charisma, social media reach, merch ideas. You pitch your own vignettes, your own storylines. You rehearse every entrance, every taunt. Because one bad segment can kill momentum. And once it's gone, it's gone. And backstage, it's politics. You shake every hand. You don't sit in someone else's seat. You don't speak unless spoken to. You learn who to impress, who to avoid, who talks to creative, and who talks behind backs. You hear whispers. They like you. They're watching you. You've got something, you cling to it, because it might be the only feedback you get. Meanwhile, you're working 5 nights a week, hitting 5 cities in 6 days, TV tapings, live events, meet and greets. Your voice is shot. Your back's wrecked. You get 2 hours of sleep in a different hotel every night, and still, you show up smiling, ready to perform, because you know how fast it can disappear. Injure your ankle, you're replaced. Miss your moment, you're benched. Say the wrong thing online, you're gone. And no one remembers the guy who used to be over. So you push, you wrestle hurt. You cut promos on injuries that should have sidelined you. You pitch better ideas. You try to stand out without stepping on toes. You stay humble, stay hungry, stay visible. You do everything right. And still, sometimes, nothing happens. You're stuck in catering. No segment, no match. Just waiting, watching others get the push you thought was yours. You want to scream, but you don't. Because the moment you do, you're difficult. And difficult doesn't get TV time. So you keep going. You keep smiling, you keep grinding. Because this is the show. It's scripted chaos, controlled spotlight, pain wrapped in production. And if you're lucky, if you play your cards exactly right, you might just survive long enough to matter. The pop is addictive. That roar, when your music hits, when the crowd rises, when someone chants your name like it means something. You live for that moment, but it comes at a price. Because the crowd doesn't see you wake up on hotel floors with your back locked up. They don't see the bruises that never fade, the joints that won't bend, the way your hands shake after a match. You hide it well. That's the job. Your smile is part of the costume. The trainers patch you up. The doctors give you green lights because red ones don't exist. You're on the road again before the swelling goes down. You tape everything. Knees, wrists, ribs. Your whole body becomes a game of structural Jenga. Painkillers help. At first just for the worst nights, then more often, then every night. You don't notice the switch from only when needed to just in case. Until you do. But by then, your body's screaming louder than your conscience. Then there's the mental part. The loneliness hits hardest in airports. Everyone's moving in opposite directions, heading home. You're heading to the next town, next show, next promo. Holidays disappear. Relationships strain, birthdays get missed, you see your family through screens, if at all. You start to feel like a ghost, even when you're in the ring. Especially when you're in the ring, you feel the distance between who you are and who you play. The character is bigger than you, louder than you, stronger than you. And every time you step through that curtain, you bury yourself a little deeper to bring it to life. You get used to clapping for everyone else. You pop for the next guy getting the push. You shake his hand, you tell him he earned it, and you mean it. But part of you still wonders why it wasn't you. Why it's never you. What you're doing wrong, what you're not saying. What version of yourself you need to kill to finally be seen. The pressure mounts in silence. Nobody wants to hear you're struggling. You're the entertainer, the draw, the tough one. You can't cry in front of fans. You can't tell management you're depressed. You can't even flinch when your shoulder pops out of place mid-match, so you laugh it off. Backstage, you're always good. You slap backs, crack jokes, nod when someone says you crushed it, even if you barely remember the match because your head hit the mat harder than it should have. And when the house lights dim, you sit in the dark and wonder how long you can keep doing this. Because the show goes on, with or without you. You've seen it. Guys who were on TV every week, now working indie shows with 50 people in the audience. The crowd chants, "You still got it," like that makes up for everything they lost. You don't want that to be you, but you know it could be. One injury, one storyline, one wrong tweet, and you're out. So you keep playing hurt, keep selling pain, keep hitting your mark and making it look like you're having the time of your life. Because somewhere, someone is watching you and dreaming of doing this too. You were that kid once, and now you're the reality. You love wrestling, still, somehow. But you also know what it's taken, what it's still taking. The late nights, the broken ribs, the silence when your name isn't on the booking sheet, the high you chase and the crash you never see coming. And yet, you lace the boots up again, because the pop's still in your ears. And for a second, just one more second, it drowns everything else out. You don't remember your last match until someone shows you the footage. It's not a main event, not even televised. Just a small show, decent house, nothing special. You took the fall, rolled out of the ring, limped backstage, laughed through the pain, normal stuff, except something in you knew. Not in your bones, those gave up years ago. Not in your body, it doesn't get a say anymore. But in the quiet part of your soul, the one that still remembers your first bump on a gym mat, your first pop, your first handshake after a good match, that part whispered, this might be it. You didn't get a send-off, no speech, no thank you from the company, no confetti or tears. You just stopped getting booked. Your name stopped showing up on the list. You texted someone, they left you on red, and that's it. The machine keeps rolling. New stars, new stories. You're just a name on a flyer from 5 years ago, a forgotten finisher, a catchphrase someone else is using now. You try to live normal, get a job, wake up at a reasonable hour, pay rent, go to the gym for health, not pain management. You watch the product sometimes, but not often. It stings. Not jealousy, just memory of what it felt like to be in it, of what it meant to be cheered by strangers who believed, even for a second, that you were more than just a guy in boots. Sometimes a fan recognizes you. At a gas station or a local show you're not booked on. They say, man, I used to love your stuff. And that's weirdly enough to keep your heart beating steady for the rest of the day, because it mattered. Even if the company forgot, even if you never got a title run, even if you never got your WrestleMania moment. You mattered to someone. For 10 minutes on some random night, you made a kid cheer like it was real. Because for them, it was. And for you, it always will be. That's why it sucks to be a WWE wrestler. And that's exactly why you never stop showing up.